Hello,
Haha.
everyone, and welcome to the Play Pouch. I am joined today by Pete and Tequila. How are you, fellas?
Dandy, sir, dandy.
Devil in a delish, mate, innit?
Wow, fair enough.
Amen.
Finally getting around to doing the stream that has been attempted.
Third time to charm, comp.
Yes, third time's the charm. First time is the charm. So, because I've tagged along on this, I'm actually going to pass over the ceremonial duties back to Pete. So, all yours, Pete.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Play Pouch. I sound like a complete fucking robot. Thank you, Cole. Yes, we're talking about the Steam machine. Now, you see, in previous months, we've all been very frustrated with the just consoles in general, and we don't like the closed economy. I certainly don't like the closed economy, and I don't like being sold out. I don't like being lied to. I prefer to have options, and really, the PC market is the only place for me to have options, and that's how I feel. Obviously, if you're a more casual gamer, then you like the console. So basically, the Steam machine has come out, and that is seeking to bridge the gap between the console players and the PC market. They want to come up with some sort of middle ground, and I kind of think they did a fairly good job. So, I mean, what's other people's initial reaction to seeing this trailer?
I think out of us three, I'm probably the least PC friendly. I think that's fair to say, and I know that I am. Not only in my ability to run PCs and stuff, I'm not as good as you guys, and that I think plays into the fact why I'm a little bit more apprehensive than you guys are at jumping in. But I do play on the PC, especially certain type of games. But that a lot of that is to do with the input, right? So it's like there's certain games, you guys know the kind of games I'm on about. RTSs, even games like XCOM are better played with the mouse and keyboard. So that plays a big role to me, the type of game it is, and what input device I use. So that also will be a concern of mine because if I am playing PC games on this new machine, do I have to use a mouse and keyboard? And the chances are I probably will for some of them. And that kind of goes a little bit against me wanting to sit on my couch and play. What I don't really want to do is sit on my couch with a mouse and keyboard. There probably isn't a fix to this, by the way. This part I'm on about, but that's my personal. That's why I play certain games on the PC and certain games on the console. A lot of it's to do with the input devices used. So, as the more console player, probably out of us three, I like the fact that it's going in this direction. I don't like the fact Xbox are doing it because I can't stand Xbox with a passion. I am completely done with them. Slightly concerned about Valve's history in making hardware. They're quite new at that part of the game. We know they've done the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck, what would you say, Pete and Com? Mixed reviews on the Steam Deck? Hasn't been plain sailing, would you say, with the Steam Deck?
I just think people are apprehensive, aren't they, to sort of fork out so much money for something
It is expensive.
And it's just like, well, the gimmick of going out and playing is, I don't personally think works. I don't like the idea of sitting on a train and playing a game. I prefer staring out the window, but that's just like me being old hat. So I don't know. What do you think, Cole?
Yeah.
I'm under the same ilk as you were here. I don't really play games in my travels and stuff. I mean, when I was younger, obviously the Game Boy and everything were there. Yes, it was fantastic. But it's not something that really interested me. So I never even bothered with the Steam Deck at all. The price put me off for one, and I was like, well, how often am I actually going to use this when I've got a PC at home? I've got an Xbox at the time as well, so I could play my games then.
It's like asking yourself, how obsessed with games am I to the point where I want to continue gaming as I leave my house?
It's a
very childish thing.
It's also the type of game, Pete, as well. It's like if you're on a train, using your example, right? If you're on the train, can you really focus and engross yourself in a proper kind of cinematic game? I would say you can't. So the kind of games you play in those situations are the kind of games that you see on mobile, like Candy Crushers and all that stuff, or using Com's example, yeah, the old Game Boy Advances, or or even the Switch. You know, those kind of short games that you play for 5 or 10 minutes at a time. If I'm on a train, right, I ain't going to put a game like The Witcher on. How am I going to immerse myself? With all due respect, how am I going to immerse myself in a game like The Witcher, for example? If I look around and I've got 25 people standing next to me on a train, I'm not. You can't lose yourself. Not. I don't think so. If I'm wrong, tell me. These are not the kind of games I think you need to be played on mobile. This is a completely different kind of game. So
It
I'm not
depends.
sure.
I think it depends on how long you got to go. If you're going from fucking London to Scotland, then you'd probably want to think about watching a few episodes of something. But like, I certainly wouldn't want to play a game.
Wouldn't you take a laptop though, Pete? If you're going that far and if you're on a business trip,
No.
then you take a laptop, a small laptop.
Oh, I've got all the entertainment I could ever have on my phone. I could watch any Netflix show, any HBO show for free on my phone. Like, woo. So, like, I don't really need anything else. That's like, done. I'm good. I don't want to play games like, I mean, if it's like a sort of a puzzle game or something simple and quick, like mahjong.
Yeah.
Sometimes I like to play mahjong, but like, other than that, then it's just like, well, what's the point? It's like, no. So no, I don't really like the Steam Deck or the Switch 2, these kind of things. It's like, no, just keep computers in the living room in your house, right? And just when you're outside, mate. Put the screen away.
Didn't you ever used to own a Game Boy though? I used to have a Game Boy, the black and white one. I used to have a Game Boy Advance.
I had a Game Boy. I had a Game Gear.
I never had a Game Gear.
That's when I was a kid. If you're a kid, it's different, isn't it? If you're but like you're a grown man now and you need to go out and work, so put the fucking Switch.
I've got a Switch. Granted, I only used it when I was in hospital because I had nothing else to do in hospital. So that's the reason I literally bought it.
That's fine, isn't it? That's like you're making the best of a situation. That's a lot different to sort of like going out, sitting on a bus and pulling out your fucking huge Steam Deck.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. Yeah. That's what I mean. There's no way that I'd be anxious about taking something worth that much on a train anyway and advertising it.
I was literally about to say that. I was like, yeah, make yourself a target of like,
come steal this off me, everybody. It's right here.
Exactly. Yeah, this is like $1.50 machine. Yeah, come and get it, lads. No, mate.
Like that's the thing. Like what you said, everything's on the phone. Like I have so many games on my phone, from like Dungeons and Dragons kind of games to stuff like tile-based strategy kind of games. But on my commute to work, I have earphones in, I have a podcast playing, and I sit there looking out of a window. I don't have time to play the games because there's no point. By the time I've actually started doing anything I want to do, I'm there, so I need to stop.
Yeah.
But is this because us three, in particular, I know me and Com, because me and Com, for example, like our JRPGs and stuff like that, they're not the kind of games that you can put on. You're in for long sessions. You don't play these games for like 10 minutes, as you said. If you're going to sit down to play these kind of games, you at least want, I think, at least 2 hours. Com, if I'm wrong, you tell me. That's kind of what you're looking at. You want at least, I want to make sure I've got a couple of hours because it's going to take me a little while to get into this. I need to remember where I am. I need to remember what I'm doing. I need to remember all my gear and all these things. So you're not going to do it while you're on a train and you got like half an hour. If what Pete says is right, if you're going on an extended journey, maybe that's a bit different. But
well, this is the thing. Like all these JRPG and Japanese games were solely originally, I suppose, were for the actual Chinese and Japanese public themselves because a lot of commuters have to travel quite far, and so there's no toilets on these fucking trains. Apparently, wow, it's like 6-8 hours or something. Do you know what I mean? So
it's crazy. Yeah,
they've got to do something. So that's it's primarily directed towards that target. But like, no, you're right. I mean, like, unless you're like a spotty Herbert teenager, when are you going to be like pulling out your fucking, I don't know, games console to play? It's like it doesn't.
The thing is, though, the handhelds. I mean, don't get me wrong. All the Nintendo Game Boys and everything, they did sell well in Europe and America. Of course, they did. But still, there was more sales in the Asian markets for those reasons you've just described. Because those poor folk have to spend so long on the train every day that it also almost becomes necessary to have the Game Boy Advances and the Game Gears. That's why that's why Nintendo as well, all those companies, that's why they focus less so on the markets over here, but because of what you've just said. So they were completely designed. And a lot of JRPGs originated from the mobile devices.
Yeah.
So a lot of them have their origins from mobile devices, and then they've become obviously much more mainstream. The Monster Hunter games, they started on the handhelds. That's just an example.
The issue
They
I have with it is obviously everyone knows I'm a massive Persona fan. I've just finished playing Persona 5 today. And I was at the point where I was playing it before I went to work for about an hour at a time before I went to work. And I wasn't really getting very far, but I got to pretty much to the end game, and I was like, right, this is the final part of the game that I need to do today. And it's done. It still took me 4 hours to complete end game material. It's like, I'm not going to sit there on my mobile phone or on a Steam Deck or something like that trying to play a game like that for 4 hours, because it's just never going to happen.
Feedback in the chat, Com. Apparently, you're really quiet. That's from Alan. Pick up Alan, who's watching.
No worries.
You sound okay to you sound okay to me and Pete, but must be your levels in the recording. You sound okay to us, but
I'll turn myself.
So we've spoken about portable gaming devices, and we've explicitly expressed that unless you're like a teenager or a kid, then you generally adults don't do
at least
that.
over here. At least over here, Pete. At least over here in England.
Yeah, at least over here. Like you'll rarely have it. You might have 1 out of every 20 people that will pull out a Steam Deck and like most of other people will just pull out their mobile phone and do something. So it's I don't think it's a very huge market, these Steam Decks and these Switch 2s. I think it's kind of folly. But let's move our focus onto the actual Steam machine. We can talk about the controller alongside it, I suppose. But like the Steam machine itself, now the specs for the Steam machine, as I've discovered, are roughly the same as my specs. So my specs is ARM4 architecture, AMD CPU. Mine is 5700X, but I don't know what specifically the model number is for the new Steam Deck. The GPU is on par with my 4060. So I've got 64 gigs of RAM, but I sincerely doubt that the Steam machine will. So it's basically got roughly the same power as mine. So I can say that you'll get a really, really cool experience. You're definitely going to get 2K30, and with a lot of games, you'll get 2K60. But it just depends on how you tweak the graphics. You can tweak the graphics with any game to get 60, but for me, I like graphics instead of frame rate. I like frame rate, don't get me wrong, but I'm happy to play in 30 unless it's like a really high octane game like Monster Hunter where you're gonna want 60. Other than that, I'm fine as long as it's somewhere in the middle between 30 and 60, like 45. That's fine, and you're gonna expect that from the Steam machine. It's not going to be a bad rig at all. It's just not that future proof. You've probably got a few years with it. Like with my machine, it will start chugging when we start reaching 2030, the year 2030, that sort of thing. So it's got about 3 to 5 years of life, which is standard.
Hearing you say that, I'll be honest, I expected a little more.
Well, they're going to do this so that next year or the year after they're going to release a better one, right?
That is what I mean. So this makes me think, like, wait a couple of years. This makes me think, wait a couple of years and then get the next version up, so that my games will be 4K 60.
You're saying this, right? However, we already do this anyway with the current consoles. These current consoles, yes, they might have a bit more than 3 or 4 or 5 years, but they're designed to last a certain period. And when that comes up too, it's a case of, such as what Xbox and PlayStation been doing for years now. Look, here's PlayStation 4. Oh no, look, here's PlayStation 5. Because that cycle of your console is coming to an end. So it's
See,
exactly the same as what it is now.
it's worse than that, Con, because they've gone another level. You're right. In the olden days, you normally got one console per generation, but what's happening now with the PlayStation 5 Pro, Xbox Series X, is that now we're getting slightly better versions of the same kind of a console generation. So we're actually getting more of them now. The Xbox, for example, you've got technically there's 3 different versions. You've got the very crappy S, you've got the basic, I guess, middle of the range Xbox, and then you've got the Series X, which isn't that impressive, by the way, but it still runs better than the other two. But they're all in one generation still. They're all classed as the same generation, but you've got 3 different models of different degrees of power. And the same with the PlayStation, you've got 2 of them. So they're doing what you're saying, but they're actually going further than that. They're making multiple ones of the same generation.
It's kind of a double-edged sword, because on the one hand you've got the issue of the closed economy of consoles, right? Now that's a bad thing and a good thing, because the bad thing is like you're at mercy of their price points and stuff. But the good side of it is that because it's a closed environment, games are far less likely to crash and cause issues. But when you're on a Steam machine or a PC, you're much more susceptible to crashes. But I think on the flip side with the Steam machine, the very fact that you can pull all the Steam shit off of it if you want, and then put Linux. I think you can put Windows on that. Someone correct me. And you can just do whatever you want with it, because it's just essentially a PC. So it will ship as a Steam machine, but then you can just do whatever you want with it. You can put a new hard drive in it easily, like there's an extension. It's not as easy to upgrade the RAM, but I think you can still do it. So it's very versatile of a machine, and this is kind of like the first step of it, isn't it? Like they're testing the waters with this kind of like base sort of, unit. And the thing is tiny, apparently. It's like the size of a fucking...
It is small. It looks it compared to the other consoles. I mean, it does look like a mini Xbox. The shape of it, it's like half an Xbox X. It looks like it, but
yeah.
But I think the one thing it's got going for it as well is, like, obviously me and Pete all know, we're not really constrained so much to games. We have a massive range of games we can play, which don't come to the Xbox or the PlayStation. And I think that's a massive selling point for them. One that really intrigues me. Obviously, like I said, I've got a PC, so it's not really a massive difference to me, because I can get that anyway. But it would be nice to have a console where I can be like, oh, do you know what? I want to play this, but it's only available on Steam, and I don't really want to go up to my PC.
I think it's designed for more. I think I said this before in one of our attempts. I think it's designed much more for me than it is for you two. I think if you're already quite an avid PC gamer like you two are, I don't think it's probably for you. That's the truth. I don't. I think
No, it is, but it's also for people who are pissed off with Xbox and PlayStation, and that they don't want to invest thousands in a PC. They just want to be able to sort of access their Steam library. And don't forget, you can add games to your Steam library.
Yeah.
From the launchers, right? I believe. I haven't tested all that out, so I don't know how fluid it is. But like, for that person who doesn't really want to sit down and spend time learning how to use a PC, fuck it, just buy the Steam machine.
Yeah.
I think it's a great medium.
There's also other things to consider. For example, I said this to Alan the other day. Alan's just had to buy some more Game Pass, probably so me and him can finish Borderlands, what's left of it. There's only really the end game left. What little end game there is. So he's had to pay that, but if on the Steam machine, for example, you haven't got to pay. There'll be no multiplayer fees. It's absurd that we have to. Game Pass is different because you're getting a service of games, right? It's different, but we paying just to play with your mates online, which is what you have to do on the consoles. That won't be a thing. So that will save people some money. Okay, it's not going to be hundreds of pounds. It might be 50 quid a year just for the basic premise of playing with your mates online, but stuff like that won't be a factor. Plus also, and this is something that really is more important, Pete and Con will know that games on the PC are a good 20 to 30% cheaper on average than they are on consoles. And since they're all going to be bloody digital soon anyway, that will add up. That will add up over the years. Because You won't be a slave to the Microsoft Store, as we're all going to be if we stay on Xbox. Not that any of us, I think, are going to.
But don't forget as well, you can probably install the Xbox app onto the Steam machine.
Probably, yeah. You should be able to.
So if it's an Xbox environment, that just basically means, yes, lads, this is universal. You can do whatever the fuck you want with it. You can turn it into a transgender, non-binary, fucking whatever, or you can just have it as your basic bitch Steam machine. You do whatever the fuck you want with it. I think
it might depend how friendly it is. They might say you can do it, but will they want you to? Because they want you to be buying games from Steam. That's going to be there.
Yeah, but I think that the fact that they've made it versatile draws a lot of respect, and it will draw a bigger crowd because they know that if they buy this machine for 500 quid, which I reckon it's going to be, then that holds a lot of respect for Steam, and that generates a lot of good reputation points for Steam and Valve, because they're trying to sort of like introduce an alternative for the console market people, and that's great. So now, like, if you're a casual gamer, you don't have to rely on Xbox or PlayStation or Nintendo. There's a fourth option now.
But this is what I mean. Like, I'm just doing like some little bits of research whilst we're talking about this. So this Steam Deck's going to be about 600 quid, which is very good for something that's as powerful as a PC.
Well, they've made it the same price as the two consoles. They've obviously that is who they're competing against. They've more or less said it's going to be the same price as them.
The next Xbox, the Xbox Alloy,
Alloy
X is going to cost £1,000, and the PlayStation
ridiculous.
6 is going to be £800.
That's also ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think
you're getting something off it here now that's probably going to be better than the two consoles, because it's basically like what we said, a miniature PC, and it's cheaper.
Yep.
You know what might happen though? Like if PlayStation, if Valve do this, well, not if they are doing this, PlayStation might turn around and say, okay, we're not going to bring games to the PC anymore then, because you've literally entered our game space. Right now, the PlayStation isn't competition for the PC because it's too completely, it's just done differently. But once Valve do this, PlayStation will be like, well, we ain't going to port games.
They're already thinking about it, dude. Apparently.
What, not doing it?
Yeah, apparently Sony are now sort of thinking
100%.
Fuck PC.
I actually can't blame them, because that will literally be handing them the victory. So from a business standpoint, for consumers, it's not good news. But from a business standpoint, that is what I would have expected them to do. It was fine before because it's different, as we've just discussed. But now Valve are making this more or less direct competition for them, for the living room, which is what it is. Then they're going to be like, well, hold on a second, we don't want you guys paying our all we've got going for us is our PlayStation exclusives. So they'll go back to being like Nintendo is, because you don't see Nintendo games coming out on PC, but PlayStation 5 are willing. So that'll be something that will affect things, because people who enjoy obviously the PlayStation exclusives, I don't think you're going to be getting them anymore after this thing comes out. I think there's a good chance of that, which is the negative to the consumer.
You're right. It might sort of like cause all consoles to sort of like put their walls up, like like and say and have it not. Like Xbox might backtrack and say no, we're not going to have a PC Xbox app, because if you're just going to be like able to play your like Xbox games on the Steam Deck on the Steam console, it's just like, what's the fucking point?
There's no mate. I don't. If I'm Xbox, I already think they're really throwing out the white flag anyway, mate. I just with this news that Valve are doing this, I cancel all plans of this next. I just say, you know what, we're out, because we got no chance. They already were losing anyway, but they're going to be battered, mate. The Xbox is going to be absolutely battered if they tried to compete with the Valve machine as well. Absolutely battered. They're already getting battered.
I think they're going to go down quite a lot, because there's a lot of blind loyalty from Xbox fans, and I think there's a lot of disillusionment going on as well. So there's very much a big chance that the Steam Machine's announcement was very, very on point, very well timed, because it's like you got all these people, and we're saying it as well. It's just fuck Xbox, dude.
Yeah. The timing was impeccable, and then Xbox was just starting to stir the waters. Oh, our next console is going to be half a PC. Then all of a sudden, bam, Valve announced this.
Well, this is a fucking PC. You can do whatever the fuck you want with it, and it's going to be about 500-600 quid. Yeah.
They stole Xbox. They stole Xbox's thunder. Normally, I'd be annoyed, but not. I'm not annoyed anymore. Not after what Xbox. You've done it to yourselves. You deserve what you get. You've imploded. So screw you.
All right. So let's talk about the controller, right? Because we know that Alan doesn't like the bulkiness of it, the two trackpads in particular. I don't mind it. I like the sound of it and look of it. I think that if it gets us more accurate tracking on the pad, because it's very unfair if you put yourself against a keyboard and mouse player and you're on a controller. It's like the person who's on keyboard and mouse has such a big advantage over you. So, if there is that way of doing that with this pad setup, I'm all for it.
Yeah. Again, it depends on the kind of game, doesn't it, Com? It depends on the kind of game you're playing. You're talking about, if you're playing a multiplayer game of versus, then you are going to be at a disadvantage. I don't think any of us particularly play this kind of game, so maybe selfishly, that's not something we've got to worry about that much. But you're right, some people will be really impacted by that.
I mean, I'm looking at the actual pad itself. I mean, it's a very old chunky pad, but I don't see them being much of an issue. I mean, I've got Xbox downstairs. I use the Xbox control when I'm gaming on PC. I use it on the Xbox, and that's a chunky pad in itself. I like.
We don't know how heavy it is, though, do we? I mean, it could be quite light.
No, you won't. You can't tell the weight yet.
But the thing is, I like pads where I can feel it. You know what I mean? Like the PlayStation, and I'm going to smash PlayStation a bit here. The PlayStation pad, I feel like if I hold it too tightly, it's going to crumple in my hands because of how they are.
It feels like you're holding a series of twigs, and if you twist it too much, it'll just snap. You're just like, I know what you feel. I know how you feel. Yeah, I don't really like them that much.
I've had an issue with the PlayStation controller. I don't despise it, but I quite dislike it, and I don't know if it's just to do with the shape of my hands or whatever I'm doing wrong. Often I'll find that especially my left hand, will slip off the joystick, and I have to rearrange it. Yeah. And that's fine if you're playing a slow-paced game. Who gives a shit? If you're playing a game where you need fast reactions, that can get you killed.
I mean,
I find that happens to me all the time.
There's been many a time in the past, and I think PlayStation have built their pads to break. That's what I honestly think, because like back in the days when I used to play a lot of FIFA online or Call of Duty or something, I played it both on Xbox and PlayStation. The PlayStation experience was awful. So like you said, my fingers kept coming off of the analog sticks because they're just too slippy. And if I got into a rage moment and I launched my pad, as soon as it was gone. My Xbox control pads just bounced back and hit me. It was like, what do you think you're doing kind of thing, you know? But it's just the Xbox pad, and this is what I think this Steam Machine pad is based off of by the looks of it.
Yes, it's definitely got vibes of it, doesn't it? Yeah.
It just appeals to me a lot more. It feels nicer in the hands. So I'm actually looking forward to getting my hands on one of these pads just to see what it feels like. The
only issue I've got with it is the second. It's got the two joysticks that are the same on the PlayStation. If the left hand stick was higher up like the Xbox, I'd have absolutely no problems playing that controller. My issue is that my hands are going to be in the same position as they would be on the DualShock. So I don't like that position as much with the two joysticks. There's nothing I can do about it. I spoke to Pete before the show. Unless they allow the Xbox controller to be used like you can use on PC, if they allow that, then that concern for me is gone. So I'm hoping that they announce that you can use that, because then I'll just use my Xbox controller and there won't be a problem. That's it.
I can't see why you wouldn't be able to.
No, I'm sure it's fine. I think that's what their agenda is.
Yeah, because I mean, like, you can use an Xbox pad on a normal PC.
Yeah.
So I don't see what the
you can use a PlayStation pad on a PC.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Well, yeah, I know. But what I mean is, I'm pretty sure, like, 'cause it's got USB ports, even if it's a plug and play kind of pad for the console, the Xbox console, I'm sure it'll be able to just link up with it quite nicely.
Yeah, it's yeah. There's a sort of there's a love and a hate sort of vibe going on with the controller. I'm with you, Colm. I personally think it might be quite nice. The fact that it's got a gyro thing in it as well, so you can do like if you're I don't know connecting it to a mobile game or whatever, you can just sort of whatever. All right, so I'm not sure it's worth talking about the VR thing that they came out with because none of us use VR. None of us are rich enough to use VR, and I think it's still in its infancy phase of like growing.
I don't want to see the hands, fam. You know what I mean by that. Every time I see a VR game and I see the kind of the disappearing hands, I just think to myself, you can't seriously. You can't think this looks
hands,
good. Yeah. It actually looks silly to me. I struggle to see how anyone could actually lose themselves in any kind of immersion when I've got those two floating hands in front of me.
Oh, right. It depends on the game. So I've actually got a MetaQuest. I've actually got a
very
VR
snazzy.
headset. And it all depends on the game. Some games, yes, I'm like, ugh, you know what I mean? It's like you cannot get immersed in this at all. But then when I play the Walking Dead game that's on there, it is actually quite good because you need to see where your hands are so you can actually grab stuff and. But a lot of that's just messing about, to be fair.
Did you play Half-Life Alyx on there?
I didn't. No, I didn't.
That's like still quite good as a VR game.
I'll have to have a look at it. So, like I said,
Yeah, take a look.
It's literally been in the corner of my office for God knows how long because I've just not played on it recently. So I'll have a look.
Well, that's the problem, isn't it? Like you're all excited and I'm going to invest in a VR machine, but like there's nothing out. It's just like nothing out for it. It's not worth it.
I can see certain game times where like maybe like as a pilot, those kind of games, I can see it being good there. I just think they need to get rid of the whole. I mean, as Com says, I guess there's unique ways of using the hands if you're going to grab people. But I just think, why can't they animate the rest of the arm? Can they not animate the rest of the arm?
I looked into VR games development at some point at the end of last year, I think it was, just out of interest to see what the differences were between normal games development and VR games development. VR games development is fucking hard. If you thought games development was hard, VR games development are even worse because you have a lot more fucking shit to fit within a microsecond, right? So like the whole optimization side of it is fucking brutal, and it's still way too early for decent VR games at the moment. So maybe 5-10 years time.
Yeah, they've been trying to push VR though for so many years, and it's just like, is it ever going to get to that point? I mean, I guess like technology says eventually it will, but it's been a long time coming. This is nearly 20 years or so. We all remember that VR was started mentioned. I mean, everyone remembers Lawnmower Man. If anyone remembers that film, hell, they were talking about VR in that film. Do you not remember when they used to have it in the arcades, guys? I don't know. Com might be ever so slightly too young to remember this. Pete, you remember that? They used to have this stuff in the arcades. Tropodero, I think it was, and they had this whole big VR stuff there.
Yeah, I mean, we had films like Johnny Mnemonic and Lawnmower Man and all these, like even Tron, the early Tron. So it will get there, but I don't think it's worth really sort of discussing much more about the VR. I think on the whole, though, I think it's safe to say that we're fairly happy / impressed with the arrival of the Steam machine. Would I be right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I will need a lot more info. I will not be pre-ordering it. I will be cautious on it. Because I need to find out certain things. For example, the Xbox controller, that will be a big factor in me. I will need to wait probably until the machine is out to find out if it can be done. It probably can, but if there's issues. So stuff like that, I will have to research. I'm interested in getting it because it does fit the niche that I've got where sometimes I don't want the hassle. But I can also respect, as you guys have been right, and I've always said you are right, the games are flat out better on the PC. I'm well aware of that. It's not like I didn't know. So that will
more variety, dude. They
are just better. They look better. I would say they run better. The run better maybe is a bit because yes, as you said, there is more things that can go wrong. There is, and that is a concern for me. But maybe you can learn to live with things like that. But for me, not having the hassle of having, I want to sit on my couch, and it's simple as that. I'm pretty simple in that way. I want to sit on my couch. I don't feel I can really do that. Not easily, anyway, with my PC. It's a massive pain in the backside. This fills that gap for someone like me. So I think I'm the most likely one out of us four to get it, because I know that Alan doesn't really want to. So it would be more likely me or Alan who would jump into this, I think. Maybe Com said maybe there's a gap for him as well. But Pete, mate, I don't see why you would ever want it. I've got to be honest.
No, I'd never buy it. I don't need to buy it.
Yeah.
I'm already saving up $5,000 for my new machine. So like, I don't, it's not for me, but I really appreciate its existence because I am sick and tired of the monopolization of the console space. And I was an Xbox fanboy for a long time, mate, and I ducked out 10 years ago because I knew what they were fucking going to do. I knew where they were heading. I was like, nah, fuck this, dude. I bought the Series X originally when it first came out. There was fuck all out for it, so I sold it for more than I bought it for. And then, I got another one.
That's because there was shortages, weren't there, at the start? That's why.
I know. Yeah. I was just like, this is fucking point. The moment I bought it, I had buyer's remorse. I was like, nah, this is a bad idea, dude. So, I just thought, no, PC, because there's so much more variety and option on the PC. So,
plus there's all the mods, and I know that I know how big you are on the mods, and that is a factor as well. You can enhance. Most games can be enhanced via mods, but it can be frustrating. You have to do some extra learning to get a lot of them work, because obviously the more stuff you add, the more stuff that can go wrong. So it depends if you want to kind of jump into that or not. But I don't see any negative things. And a part of me, because I've got such a problem with the Xbox nowadays, because I'm so unhappy with them. Part of me kind of likes the fact that, okay, we're going to come and take your place now, mate. See ya. I think they deserve it, so I'm not unhappy at all. And I was, I suppose, an Xbox fanboy. I guess that was my preferred console of the two, mainly because of the controller. I won't lie. So to see them self-destruct, I mean, screw them, man. I got no sympathy from them, not anymore. Not after what they've done the past 12 months or so.
Well, I have equal hatred for Microsoft and Sony now.
Do you think Sony's as bad though? Do you really think Sony's as bad?
Dude, Sony is entirely fucking evil. I'm sorry. Sony is entirely. We know, dude. Nick, we spoke about this last night and the night before.
Well, I don't think any of them are good. I just don't know if they're as bad as Microsoft. I don't think any of them are good.
Sony's music industry arm are fucking Satanists for a start, right? Yeah. And they basically had Michael Jackson killed, but that's a complete conspiracy I won't go into. But no, Sony are scumbags, mate, through and through. Each arm is just like really just insidious and like, So I don't really like Sony. I don't really like Microsoft, or specifically the Xbox arm. I don't mind the Microsoft Windows. I don't think, Windows 11 is that fucking bad. They, corporations lie all the fucking time, and we're used to it. But I don't have to like it. So yeah, I like fuck Xbox and fuck Sony PlayStation. Well, as far as I'm concerned,
I've got my own personal vendetta against Sony PlayStation because their consoles are shit. I know
they're built really badly, bro. They're built really badly. Their consoles.
Honestly, right? I got a PlayStation 1 when I was a kid, and I stayed with PlayStation. Even when Xbox 360 came out, I stuck with PlayStation. I got a PS4 Pro, and then Elden Ring came out. I remember being so excited to play Elden Ring. Played it for about 2.5 hours, and then my PlayStation burst into flames because it couldn't handle the game. Literally, I had smoke pouring out of the vents and everything.
Was this PS5?
No, this was PS4 Pro.
PS4.
Okay. Right.
And obviously the PS4 Pro was still relatively new at that point. I don't think PS5 were out. Well, it was due to come out. And ever since then, I've been Xbox. But obviously, I'm on PC Xbox now as well. So,
I mean, to give Xbox credits, their console builds are solid, man. They are really solid. Ever since the Red Ring of Death.
Well, I was about to say, other than the original.
Ever since that, they were like, right, we need to step up our build game. but Sony's PS5 was built really badly, really badly. They cut costs everywhere where Xbox didn't. So that's credit to Xbox, but I still don't fucking like either of them.
The chances are I will still probably be in the market for the PlayStation. I've more or less said that no matter what Xbox does, it probably can't win me back. I won't say never because I'm not going to put myself in that bracket, but they would have to come up with something absolutely amazing for me to even trust Xbox again with what they've done. I still think there's a chance I get the next PlayStation. I won't know, but I still think there is a chance of that because there is still a part of me, the console part of me, which is still a little bit concerned of dealing with PC issues on the Steam machine. Just in general, it'll be easier.
Just play PC.
Just
What
yeah,
if?
but I can't. So I mean, I can't because I want to. I can play it. This will let me play my PC on my couch. That's its selling point to me. But that still won't undo the concerns because I'm not as tech savvy as you guys. So I have a bit more concerns with dealing with issues that arise. I struggle more with it. Just naturally, I just do. When PC problems arise, I struggle more. And that can still be a factor in the Steam machine. So there is a part of me that's still thinking, by all means, Nick, get the Steam machine.
It won't.
Get the PlayStation as well.
No, it won't. It'll be fine. If anything happens with the Steam machine, look, the Steam machine is a purpose-built machine. So basically, it's kind of like a console build, but it's not, right? It's basically it's not got Xbox kernels or PlayStation kernels. It's it will be fine. If something does go wrong with it, then it's just like it's fixable. You just fucking restart the machine. It's not like I don't know. It's difficult to explain because if anything happens on the PC game wise, you just you quit out of the game and then you'd probably just restart the PC. It's like unless you installed it wrong.
Well, with the PC, obviously, because there's so many components with the PC, and as we said earlier, when it comes to the consoles, they're made for just one build. So whether or not there's going to be developers out there that are going to look at this Steam machine and say, okay, so yeah, we're going to make it for the PC, for all the top-end PCs, but we're also going to make sure that there's a build available that runs specifically on the stats of this Steam machine. And if they do that, I'll feel a bit more comfortable if they end up doing that.
Well, it's just a mid-range PC. That's just all the Steam machine is. It's basically my PC.
But they're all going to have the same components, though, aren't they? Because they're being mass-produced, so it's not going to be like most. Like, I understand what you mean. The power might be the same, but the components are all going to be exactly the same in all these Steam machines. At least unless they start developing, which they probably will, slightly different models. So whether or not there's going to be developers who say, okay, so this is the specs of this Steam machine. Every Steam machine is going to have exactly the same components, which they will, because they're going to be like a console. They're not going to be custom built, at least initially anyway. So we can make games specifically for them.
It's just like buying a pre-built PC off the shelf. That's all it is.
Or using the PC I've sent you.
Yeah.
That's exactly what this is.
Hint.
I know. I do know.
Fuck me.
That's my only that's the only concern I've got as a console gamer is that yeah, it will solve some of the issues, but I might still have to deal with stuff that I'm not comfortable with. That's my concern. Just as someone who's not as...
I don't think you will. I think they're building this for the console players to get into.
Yes, I agree. Yes.
And I don't think you're going to have the similar... Well, not that you're going to have similar issues. I don't think you'll have a lot of the same issues full-fledged PC players will have. I think it's going to be a lot more friendly to the console players than the PC players.
Well, I think that's the key that you've just said. I think they have to do that. Well, I don't know if they're going to, but I think they... I'm not sure how they're going to do it, but I think they do have to do that. If they want to entice people like me who prefer console gaming overall, I probably do prefer it. To entice me, they do need to kind of put in a little bit of safeguards, I suppose, for lack of a better term, right? To kind of protect us, at least as we're making the quote-unquote transition across. There needs to be... I don't know how... I don't know how they're going to implement this. But I'm hoping that they do kind of implement something like this to kind of like, okay, so we need to make it a little bit easier to start, at least to start with initially, to bring you over. because as you've just said, a lot of people are going to be used to pressing one button on their console, game boots up, and that's it. That is what a lot of us are used to, who don't access the PC at all. Leo, I'm in the middle because I do play PC games, just not loads, but I do play them and have played them for years. So I'm in that middle bracket, but there's going to be some who are on the extreme side who just won't touch. Maybe a bit like Alan, who doesn't really PC game, even though he's got a better PC than my current one. Not as good as the one you sent me, Com, but he could play PC games, is my point, and he doesn't. So something like this would be that. So, Alan's a bit more in that kind of left bracket of just a console player. I'm kind of floating in the middle a little bit. So, and even I'm concerned. So if you're just a console player, you might just think, oh my God, I don't want to deal with drivers. I don't want to deal with all these drivers and stuff like that I've got to install. I don't want to deal with DirectX and all these things and all these other terms, Pete, which you hear on Digital Foundry, that I must admit, I watched a Digital Foundry video, and I bet you and Com probably understand most of it. And I can admit, they'll say something, I'll be like, what does that mean? It's an abbreviation, like a 3-letter thing. And it'd be like, well, what does that mean? What does that mean? Because you don't know. That's what I mean. Unless you really want to jump all in, and I know that you and Com are much better at that than I am. I'm like I said, I'm in the middle because I know some of it, but not all of it. But there's going to be people who are going to be like, oh my God, I do not want to learn all these terms and learn about that and that and that and that. I just want to press the on button. That's what they've got to try and figure out.
And Steam already have like a full screen interface that you can sort of you can set to launch whenever you start your PC. So there's already that in place, and that's just as simple as like a fucking console interface. So, yeah, I mean, like basically the word of the day is ditch your consoles, people, and embrace the PC master race, because at the end of the day, consoles are trying to be like PCs, but they can't because they can't be us or see us. So embrace it, baby.
Baby steps, please, Valve. That's all I ask for us lesser beings.
It'll be fine.
For us lesser beings, baby steps.
This is what they want. This is what they want to break up this monopoly that Sony and Microsoft have on the gaming console space. So, yoo-hoo! More competition. Brilliant. Right.
Steam Machine 1 available for all new PC players. Steam Machine 2, you need to know how to build a spaceship to be able to repair it.
Yeah. Yeah. You need to know about cosmic radiation storms and everything. Yep. Rocket science based. Yeah.
It's good news. It's good news. Like even though I've got a little bit of concerns, it is overall good news. This isn't
good news.
This isn't a bad thing. Yeah, it isn't a bad thing.
It's got Microsoft shitting in themselves. You can bet your bottom dollar Xbox.
That's half the reason I like it, Pete. That's half the reason I like it, to knock them off their high perches after what they've done.
Yeah, especially that black lady who's just like looks like she's full of it. It's just like, yeah, all right, whatever, love. Anyway, all right, everyone, what's your take on this? We really would like to hear from you. So leave a comment in the thingy below. If you like our work, even as sparse as it is, please like and subscribe and whatever. Give us some man love or lady love. Okay, cool. Until our next episode, we shall see you later. And Colin will take us out.
See ya.
Goodbye, guys.
Take care, everyone.